Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So this time I'm gonna use a smaller round canvas to attempt something like the galaxy pours that Sarah does. I'm gonna link her channel in the description. What does that mean? It does mean that there is a combination out of DecoArt satin, Enamel, which is this stuff, and the DecoArt extreme sheen metallics. Normally the Enamel does the cloud effect and the extreme sheen does the floating pearl cells, so that's kind of a combination. On both there is a video on my channel, but then if you pour them as a ring pour with the extreme sheen in the cup, then it does kind of a floating. If you do a ring pour, it really looks like a galaxy and all these kind of things. I did that before and it was dramatically bad and I couldn't figure out what it was, so I suspected my canvas either having some weird thing on it because I got so many little white spots, or the enamel, because sometimes this stuff looks a bit oily before you stir it, but I mean, it always looks like that, so that shouldn't be the problem. So I'm really confused and frustrated about that one. That video will also go on this channel, or it is already there, depends on the outcome of this one. If I'm really happy, that probably goes up first. If I'm really unhappy with this one too, probably the first disaster goes on first. So I mixed all the paints. I'm gonna use blues and then of course the gold and the white. And this is relatively small because, yeah, I wasted already a big canvas. And what I'm hoping to also do to have the galaxy kind of ring pour in the middle, but I really would love for another project to also have the floating cells really all around. And I did that when I first tried and it was perfect and I never could duplicate it. So I really don't know what it is, but I'm gonna give it another try. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so what I'm gonna do a little bit different to the galaxy pour that Sarah does is she pours on a layer of white, but with the floating cells you pour on a layer of the extreme sheen, so that's what I'm gonna do. It's a little difficult for me because I normally work only with big canvases actually. Also, what I learned the hard way is be really careful with the amount of the gold. My painting was completely gold basically. That's also what didn't give me the effect that I was looking for. So I hope when I just really use some drops that it does better. Okay, we have the cup now. It always looks a bit like a rainbow, which is pretty stupid. Here is my nozzle is here, and from where I need to pour is here. So that's something I didn't think of, but I can also pour from here. It's just much nicer with a nozzle. You can also get that with a paper cup. Okay, let's go. Was a little bit too much, so I made a really, really pretty lid. Okay, so this is a little bit too much paint. But I'm just not used to doing small canvases. Because I really, really want these floating cells, I'm just going to put a little bit of gold around, but that's probably not. I have two shaky hands, so sometimes these kind of things don't really work well. With so much paint, it's actually difficult to achieve any kind of effect because it's all in the underlying layers, so you have to pour off a lot, which again doesn't give you the flexibility to only pour off what you don't like. For my taste, it's also a little bit too much white, and I don't see any of the effects so far. So I don't see floating cells, but I also don't really see too much enamel. But like I said, it's too thick now. So I don't see the cloud effect basically, but it's still really thick. I also didn't use too much enamel, but still I'm just not used to use such small canvas, so the white for me is definitely too dominant. I do like the blue, etc. It's just not what I envisioned because yeah, I used that little gold eventually now that it doesn't do any cells. From floating cells perspective, here's one, there's one, there's one. But I mean, of course, I wanted them everywhere. And to achieve that, I think I would need to pour off much more paint because it only comes up, what I think I experienced is when the paint is not that thick, when it can easily break through. So I'm not sure if I should do that. Eventually you're gonna kill me if I do that. Okay, I know this is completely different now. I just wanted to try to do a pour paint off in a really circular motion, so that I completely lift it up and turn it. It looks really cool as an effect. Okay guys, so I don't know what to think about it. I mean, obviously it did never work as a galaxy port, and the effect that I get when I lift it and turn it, I mean, it's rather cool, but I'm always a bit like, what do I do with this now? Because this is blue and white. That could eventually look better if you have some really contrasting colors, I can imagine. Then if I look at the floating cells, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I even had to fill up because there was a weird getting through to the canvas. So I'm not exactly sure what it is. I mean, this looks cool. It's not what I wanted, but I think I'm gonna stop this enamel stuff and try to figure out how to do something similar like this, but with the cells, because I want to put a hand on there that comes out of the center. And, well, have a look out for that video if I ever manage to do that effect, and I hope you liked this as an experiment and as a painting and whatever entertainment, and I hope to see you back soon.